quote by W.L. Bateman that if you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll keep on getting what you've always got. But there are so many examples, aren't there, where we do just keep on doing the same old things in the same old ways. Perhaps it's because we just can't imagine that there could be better ways. Well, that's certainly true in many areas of teaching and learning, especially language learning. You can spend years at school and invest even more time and effort and lots of money in even more language training and still end up with very little skill to show for it. What could you be doing differently? Well, it's simple. You need to start looking at language from completely the opposite end. 180 degrees the other way round. Does this look mad? Well, it is mad. But metaphorically, that's what we've been doing. So, what I'm going to do in this short clip is explain why, as many people see it, we need a complete change in language teaching and learning. Then I'm going to introduce the new paradigm, which I call the global approach, and give you a brief overview of how it started. Before I go on, let me give you the background. My name is Rita Baker, and I've been involved in language development since 1966. It's my passion. Early on in my career, I joined a team of peripatetic teachers, going round to a variety of different schools, working with children described as having learning difficulties. Some had only just arrived in the country. They were culture shocked and could hardly speak English. Others were lumped together under the vague umbrella term dyslexic, although then, and I'm talking about the early 70s, nobody was really sure what that was, or whether it was a condition that even really existed. To start with, I was really only muddling through with the help of an educational psychologist. But what I ended up with was a powerful insight into language and literacy development in children. I have since worked with learners from preschool age up to nearly 90 in several different countries and with a broad mix of cultures. In 1985, my husband Duncan and I started Lidbury English Centre, which is where we live. We work with managers and professionals who need to improve their English rapidly so that they can work successfully at an international level. Our centre could probably be described as unique. Although we deliver highly structured training here, this is also our home. We typically only have about 6 participants here at a time, and although they have their own private rooms which they can escape to, they are otherwise immersed in English for 12 hours a day, from breakfast to dinner. They eat all their meals with us or members of our training team. Hosting a wide range of professionals in our family home has given us some really interesting and invaluable insights. It's from these that we have developed the global approach. And this is the accelerated system through which we deliver all our training. I'd like to share with you how the discovery came about. It was our youngest child, Tom, who provided the catalyst for the inspiration behind the global approach. He was only 3 months old when we started the centre, so he spent the whole of his life, right up to adulthood, living in a multinational, multicultural environment. The important thing to remember is that while our team were carefully preparing and delivering structured English language training to our clients, Tom was just picking it up for himself. The following incident happened when he was about 4. I was sitting with him at our kitchen table, having a coffee with a French quality control manager. Tom was playing with a toy car, pushing it up and down along the edge of the table. Suddenly, this manager grabbed the car and hid it behind his back to tease Tom. Tom yelled out, "Hey, give me my car back!" And then, sort of to emphasise the point, he said, "Give me back my car, please." The student gave the car back immediately, but he was absolutely fascinated, in fact, incredulous. He said, and here you have to excuse my French accent, "Oh, you know that give back is a separable verb." Well, that might not sound amazing to you, I don't know, but for me it was. Yeah, of course, Tom didn't know that he had used a separable verb, because he didn't know anything about grammatical labels. What the student meant was, how does he know that you can say, "Give my car back," or "Give back my car"? You may or may not know that give back is what grammarians call a phrasal verb, a verb that has more than one part to it. I can tell you that students from all over the world find so-called phrasal verbs difficult. In fact, they often get a slow drip feed of phrasal verbs over time, or have to wait until they reach a so-called advanced level of learning. And yet, 4-year-old Tom had no difficulty with them at all. Of course, English at that stage was his only language, and he was immersed in it all day. But this manager had invested hours of time and a significant amount of money learning English all through school and through various in-company training courses. And there he was, making a tremendous intellectual effort to learn something that Tom was picking up with no noticeable effort and certainly no specific training at all. So there's the thing. Did Tom, as a child, have some priceless magic learning software in his brain that my adult student had lost? Well, that obviously can't be right. Admittedly, young brains are more plastic than adult brains, but then young children lack the benefit of learning experience that adults have had. What this led me to discover wasn't new information, but a new way of looking at what I already knew. Why? Because, as Marcel Proust said, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeing new lands, but in seeing with new eyes. I experienced language learning firsthand through what you might call the eyes of a child, while uniquely being able to compare it directly with the experience of adult learners learning English as a foreign language. The way Tom was learning was in direct contrast to the way I had been trained to teach. Children naturally approach language from the big picture before they get into the details. Phrasal verbs, for example, are part of a very simple system. If you understand them in a global way, they are one of the easiest and most creative aspects of English. But if you look at them in the fractured way that they are traditionally presented in grammar books, you soon get bogged down in a long list of definitions and rules that seem virtually impossible to learn. Ever since that moment, I have looked at and presented language through this global approach. It's given me many similar light bulb moments from which I have developed a number of simple and powerful tools. To quote Albert Einstein, "Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not one bit simpler." I have worked with my colleagues to develop what I call the global approach to learning English. In fact, the global approach can be a powerful key to learning anything, but for now let's just stick to English. So what we adults really need to do is to rediscover the talent we were born with for learning language. I don't know about you, but I found that the conventional methods used when I was at school held me back rather than helped me. I wish I had known then what I have discovered since. Why not visit us at libri.co.uk if you would like to learn more about what we do here? Or, if you want to know more about the global approach itself, join us at theglobalapproach.co.uk.